This is a little bit off subject, but that's something. As a man, am I allowed to be a feminist?
Do you believe that women should have equal rights to men and that
Sure.
we should fight for those rights?
Sure.
Great, then you're a feminist.
Ready, go. Right. 5! No countdowns. Fuck the countdowns. Read that. Trust me and just read that.
Alright. How long has your husband been a bus driver?
But he's not a bus driver. That was the Divine Comedy National Express. That has no relation to what I watched at all.
Okay.
Yeah, I realised, like, this is One Watched. Welcome to One Watched again. Hello,
Yeah.
Sam. It's me talking about something I watched this
Yeah.
week. You should ask. You said, Sam, what did you watch?
Tell me what you watched.
Well, you know who knows already? Anyone watching this video, because it's in the fucking title.
That's true.
Yeah, but you
Wow.
don't know. You don't know.
Yeah.
'Cause-
Maybe we've thrown them off. We've put the wrong title.
Yeah, maybe.
Clickbait.
We haven't.
Clickbait.
Clickbait.
So the town gets super naked!
One Watch pornography. I don't think people would click on that, actually. Would you
No.
click it? If we clickbait a title, would you click... Would you want to?
If we
clickbait
were
a title?
famous enough, I think people would.
Oh, yeah. So
But,
One Watched,
like,
we're
yeah.
quitting. Oh,
Yeah.
how many times do I see people, we're quitting, or
Yeah.
I'm gay, and then it's actually fuck all to do with that? Oh.
If we get 5 million subscribers and 700,000 likes on this video by the end of the year 2016,
Mm.
I don't know, post a photo or something.
Okay, moving on. So I watched One Watched. Drawing this out before you. It's for your sake, because they already know what we watched. They being you, dear listener. Right. We disagree on some things, but generally we're pretty in sync. Like, we bonded over our film taste, and we have similar, to a degree, political ideals. And where we disagree, we're actually quite close. So the debate just goes on. Oh, I prefer this. Well, I prefer this kind of thing. But there are like a couple of things or times when we are further apart, and what I watched, bit of that actually. It's not, but it sort of is a subject where we're actually further apart than I would have suspected or ever thought. But whenever we've talked about it, we're quite far apart. Right, the thing I watched, my girlfriend recommended. She watched it and she was like, "It's really good. You've got to watch it. It's really, really good. You'll really like it." Now, before, when she did that, it was 1,000-Year-Old Man Who Jumped Out the Window, one of my favourite films of all time, and I've forgotten what the other series was, and it was another series that I absolutely adored. She has amazing taste, so I've learnt when she says that, I should absolutely, like, indulge.
I feel you might have watched something that I've already seen.
Right, it was called The Girls Revolt.
Oh, no. Never mind.
What were you thinking of?
For a second, I thought, and everyone should watch this, that you were talking about Bubble Bubble Meow.
You mean
And
when
the
I was in
stomach
A&E with a friend for 5 hours,
Yes.
the film you and my girlfriend watched and quote with each other? No, I
Yes.
haven't brought myself
Fucking
to it yet.
amazing.
Yes, and that will be a one watch at some point, I'm sure.
If anyone starts to watch it and they go, "Oh, it's in Japanese, I don't want to watch it," it's not in Japanese. Just the narration's in Japanese.
Okay, yeah, no. How long have we gone and we've barely talked about this? Right, it's called The Good Girls Revolt.
Look, I had to quit my job because the coffee was shit.
Alright, I don't get what that quote is! So a bitch never says hello. That's what my girlfriend replies to you all the time. I don't know what you guys are talking about. Right, no, I watched something, there's a taste for something. It's called The Good Girls Revolt.
Okay.
Right, okay. It is, I've only watched the first episode. It was a pilot, but there is a first series and it's been commissioned for a second, and I fucking loved it. Right, it's set in, I think it's either the 60s or really early 70s. I can't remember because Vietnam's going on.
Yeah.
And it's when it was the Woodstock with the Hells Angels, biker gangs, and the whole riot and everything. In my head, that's 69, but I'm not certain on that. And
Summer of '69. Yeah.
right, who sings that? Is that Bryan Adams?
Possibly.
Bryan
Yeah.
Adams. Because I always think it's Bon Jovi, and
No.
then everyone goes like, when
Wait,
you talk
I
about
think
Bon
it's Bryan
Jovi,
Adams.
right? Because I have this convo about Bon Jovi where people talk about Bon Jovi, and I fucking hate Bon Jovi, except that one song, Summer of '69, and then everyone goes, "That wasn't Bon Jovi." He goes, "Well, I fucking hate Bon Jovi then." But I always think it's him.
Yeah.
Anyway, I do fucking hate Bon Jovi. Just for the record, I just do not like his music. I just find him very boring, arrogant, and pretentious as a human being. and obviously there's only room for one of us in the world. Good Girls Revolt, set in a newsroom, 60s, and it's like think of it like a Washington Post style, significant, important, ideologically aiming to tell the news story, but with codes and ethics and practices. So not a Murdoch newspaper right now. And you have like the head editor guy who's in charge, and he's like your traditional. He's pro-Vietnam, uses words like commies and stuff. Yeah. And then you have your... so there's quite a few tropes and things you've seen in newsrooms. Then you have your editor-in-chief, or like the main editor guy, below the owner guy. And he's like, me and the owner have this respect thing, but I will do things, and the owner trusts me to get on, but he will let me know that I'm taking risks if I'm taking risks. And that's cool. And then you have the journalists, and then you have the researchers. Now, the journalists are all blokes. Yeah. The researchers are women. Yeah. And the story focuses on the researchers. And very quickly, without ever telling you, you figure out that these women are as or more talented than the male journalists. They are as articulate, they are working almost twice as hard. Not everyone, and they have their own culture, and they are actually, it's like the journalists and researchers gets teamed up, so it's always a journalist male and a researcher female, and you realise the females are doing the writing, are doing most of the type work, are doing most of it, and the journalist is like laying it down or modifying. And it's actually the researchers who are going out there getting the scoops and the stories and being as resourceful as they can. And I'm sorry if this spoils the pilot in any way. I don't think it does, so I think you're safe to keep listening. But it's about this event at Woodstock that I already mentioned, and it's about they've heard or they suspect the police account is inaccurate, but the only witness or the only person who'll give them a statement won't go on the record as a name, wants to remain unnamed. Yeah. And the newspaper's a strict policy. We name our sources. We will not put anyone who doesn't want to be named because they're not credible. And then another source that's a woman, and because of her lifestyle, the newspaper has issues, or the higher-ups have issues. And you never want to get a combo. Like, a lot, it's kind of a feminism show in that it is about... Look at the gender differences and inequality. Is this really fair, etc.? Yeah. And this is in the 60s when attitudes are different. So there's also an amazing subplot about a woman who may or may not be pregnant, who realises her husband probably quite likely has tampered with her contraception and is pushing her to, oh, you can do this for a year, but then housewife is the dream, kind of thing. And another woman challenges like, do you really want kids? Is that because your writing's really good, type thing? Yeah. So it's really interesting from that point. But you never get that combo where you see it in like even things I really like say When Harry Met Sally, where you get the woman saying, do you know how hard it is for a woman compared to a man? Men only have to do this, women do this. You never get that. You never get them really. There's one woman who is like part of a women's group, and she mentions I'm part of the sisterhood thing, but apart from that you never get that level of look what we're doing. It just shows you, and because it just shows you, it's twice as fucking effective, because you see this journalist and you see this researcher and she stands him up because she's working really hard on a fucking story, and she brings it to him. And you can tell, like, oh, he's really happy with the story, but he's really annoyed that she did this or she did that, etc., etc. And it's not like the males are all chauvinist pigs, and it's not like the women are just these perfect things. It's real. They all feel fucking real, but you do figure very quickly that you're seeing the gender divide, and really, it's not really fair. You know, it's called The Good Girls Revolt. The first episode, I was like, please tell me they fucking revolt. Please tell me they fucking revolt, because it's bullshit that they did that when they did all that work. And Ray Gilman's like, you have to keep watching. So I can't say whether that is the angle it's going to follow through for, or it's going to, but it was character driven, it was quirky, it was fun, it was serious at the same time. It has some absolutely fucking brilliant actors in. I can't remember any of the names off the top of my head. I fucking loved it. But I am a feminist. I'm not ashamed to call that, because I think in fairness and equality with women, when I say that to you, you have generally, and others have a reaction of, well, the feminists want this or that, or da-da-da, or it's about men, or it's bullshit, or and I don't really see any of that, because I don't know if, like, I just don't understand the meaning. I think it's others don't, but for me it's just equality. It's just, a woman shouldn't be disadvantaged because she's a woman, just as a man shouldn't be disadvantaged because he's a man. That doesn't mean everything has to be, oh, you can't do that, because there are things that should be, but a woman shouldn't be disadvantaged because she's a woman. No. That's my fucking take on feminism, and that's just what it comes
That's
down
the
to.
classic take on feminism, which is what it would be in '69, which I'm completely fine and agree with.
You see, say classic take on feminism. No, that's feminism. To me, that's feminism.
Yeah.
I'm not a classical feminist. I'm not a Marxist feminist. I'm not a revolution feminist. I'm a feminist.
Yeah.
And my feminism is a woman shouldn't be disadvantaged because she's a woman. I will never try and treat a woman in a way that disadvantages her because she's a woman, or view her in a way because she's a woman that isn't fair and equal. And that doesn't mean that I think many women can do the same thing or all that bollocks, because that's not what I've just said.
Yeah.
But you're putting the
when
classic word
I
in.
say classical, I mean like that is what feminism is meant to be.
Meant to be.
Yeah, like you have my problem with I don't have a problem with feminism and what feminism is meant to stand
I was really hoping we'd get into a
Right.
bit of this because I thought it might make a tasty little video.
so much as what you have what sort of the media likes to sort of say is feminism, and like the people they choose to sort of push because they become controversial, similar to the same as they do like with a lot of the people they talk about, like when they're talking about like religion and stuff, or like atheists if it's more of a religious, like they always sort of push the more extreme, and it's like, no, you're wrong. Like they're arguing for things that don't exist anymore, and I have a problem with that because there are a lot of problems that still fucking exist. Argue for the problems that fucking exist.
You have before, when we've talked, you've given me examples, and it's always like the really weird extreme one, and I feel like it would be like a Christian trying to explain why Christianity is great for them, and then you get the guy who is like, oh, if you're gay, you're going to hell, and you should be stoned, and women should do this.
And that's the ones we get to fucking see all the time, and that annoys me.
I think like you see feminists a lot. Like you see someone like the girl from Harry Potter who declares herself a feminist, or I don't know if she did. I think she did. I really like if she's not, she's like, oh, I don't want to be tied in. No one's going to listen to this anyway. It doesn't matter. But I just like I don't understand why that is considered. Why I have to even explain or try and justify that when I call myself a feminist. Why saying I'm a feminist connects me to that person. It's a bit like when Nazis called themselves socialists.
Yeah.
Like, no, a socialist doesn't have to explain Nazism or apologise for it or even acknowledge it as being part of what socialism is. And I don't know if I'm a socialist or not. I'm somewhere on the political spectrum and fuck that. But yeah. But it's really... I don't know if you'd enjoy it. I think you would, because it does all the things right in terms of a story and rounding the characters off.
Yeah.
And it doesn't just have lazy men with smart women. It's the characters are of equal depth. It's just the female characters, because of the situation, have to be more resourceful and more determined, and they don't get help, whereas the male journalists naturally get more help.
Yeah.
And it's just a very, very cool show. Like the first pilot, within 10 minutes, I was like, I fucking really like this. And then it kept going, and it kept going, and I didn't notice. And then an hour went, and the hour went, and it ended on a pretty hype, like, yeah, I really like that ending. And it didn't feel like an hour, you know?
Yeah.
And it's, like, there aren't that many shows that do that, but that was one of them, and I really fucking liked it.
Yeah.
So I really recommend it. The Good Girls Revolt. It's on Amazon Prime, which is where I watched it. I can say because I watched it legally, not that I would ever watch anything illegally, ever. Or you would. We don't condone just not paying for things.
Like.com.
I didn't hear that.
I didn't say anything.
It sounded like you were doing sexist mansplaining.
I didn't say anything.
I'm so glad I roped you into a little bit. Obviously they can't see, but your eyes went a bit wide, like, I don't want to get too, you know.
Well, no, it's because like you clearly wanted to take it sort of that direction. Like,
I'm the briefcase, and you're really not like you're really not as anti.
We have these conversations all the time, and you just turn to me and she goes, "You know, you're a feminist, right?" I'm like, I don't classify myself as a feminist, but I agree with equality.
Yeah, well, I know that. When our combos go out, and I used to talk about like, I'm a feminist, I don't get why that's wrong or why that's bullshit because this and this. You bring in terms like classical feminist, or you talk about like the feminists who just want to be separate from men and and they want their own island and stuff. And then I'm like, well, that's bullshit. I'm just talking about this, and you go, oh yeah, totally. And even when like you are like, I hope I'm the same. Like we had for a while we talked about like equal pay and shit.
Yeah.
And then it came out of the Jennifer Lawrence, like, the bullshit pay.
Yeah.
And I think I sent you the thing about, look, tell me that's not bullshit.
Yeah.
And you were like, that is actually bullshit.
Yeah.
And you went, yeah, she should be paid more, da da da. So you're even willing to consider and then decide. It's just, you wouldn't then move on to, that's why feminism is important, because in principle that would solve that problem. That's the bit that I feel is missing.
Well,
But
with Hollywood, it's all agency agreements. It's the reason that it's bullshit is because with the agency agreements, they decided themselves, like one of the agents, I don't imagine all of the agents will have done
No
it.
one's going to listen
Someone
to
fucking
this.
decided that one of the blokes was getting paid, like, was it 4 points that he got?
I don't
So they gave
remember it
everyone
all.
4. So they gave all the male actors 4 points, but they most likely started at 2 for everyone. But they agreed to do. They're like, oh, he's a main character. He's negotiating for 4, so we'll give all the male ones 4. It's like, no, you give all the leads 4. Like if that's how you're doing it, you don't go, oh, well, the females can stay at 2 because they didn't argue. No, if you're going to give all the males 4 because because they're the leads and one of them argued for 4 and you didn't want to make it unfair, you give all the leads 4.
No one's going to listen to this.
No.
And we'll probably get loads of dislikes if we do, because God knows how long this is going to... You're right. The problem is power structures.
Yeah.
Who's in charge? What's the consequence? If a man says, I want more, what's the consequence? If a woman says, I want more, what's the likely consequence? Are they equal?
Yeah.
Are they both treated as they are individuals wanting more, or are they, based on their gender,
Yeah, and you have
disadvantaged
to
and more
take that
advantaged?
out.
And all that bullshit. And
Yeah.
I'm not going
Yeah.
into it. We're
Yeah,
not
the
going
bullshit
into it.
opposite
We're not
in
going into
fashion.
it.
Yeah,
Good
yeah,
Girls
everything
Revolt.
goes
Good
to
Girls
box.
Revolt. Good Girls Revolt. It was
Yeah.
really fucking good. I really liked it.
Yeah.
You should watch it. And that's it. It was one watch, part 2. Well, God knows.
One watch,
It's part
part one.
whatever. I don't say part 2. It's just, I don't know. I have a feeling maybe this one will go up, because there's others that didn't.
With a name like Good Girls Revolt, you could claim it's porn. People go watch it, and then they'll
You
be
see
like,
what
this
you've
isn't.
done there, you sexist pig.
Right, you call something Good Girls Revolt.
It's-
All you need to do is add a location.
Well, I think the title is clever. I think the title is like, these are supposed to be good girls, but look at them. Anyway, no, we're done. We're just dragging it out. We're going into politics. You chose to solve the world. It's wrong. What Good Girls Revolt. I really liked it. I recommend it.
Socialism, everyone. Bye.
Well, let's just leave it. Let's just leave it. Bye.